Navi's turn to ban.
We're going.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve
Ladies
time.
and gentlemen, welcome back to our third of 6 matches that myself and Cinderin will be bringing you today. Of course, I'm LD, and it's time to cast Navi versus Fnatic Sind. We saw Fnatic looking very impressive earlier today. They took down DK, and I'd say they did it pretty convincingly. Now they head up against Navi. Navi, always known for having like the magic about them at previous TIs, but if any year was the year where they're going to struggle, to me, this is the year where I could legitimately see Navi not finishing top 8, not making it to the main event. Let's hope they prove the fans wrong or prove the haters wrong and make something special happen. But to me, they might even come into this match as underdogs, to be honest.
I don't think that's unfair to say, given how Fnatic played against DK. But I also want to point out, a part of Navi's history is that they always go into the hardest possible bracket and then they fight from there. So they'll probably lose like the first few games, and then when they have to absolutely win everything, then they'll start doing that. It's happened at previous TIs as well, where last year they had a pretty bad start and then they caught up. And yeah, in other tournaments, the one that comes to mind for me was the Alienware Cup at some point, where they had like an awful group score of 1-7 and then advanced to win the entire tournament. That's 1.5 years ago or something, but still, it's
that tournament had a weird format.
Yeah, it did.
You could finish at the bottom of your group and you were still in the winners bracket. It was 10 teams as well, but that being said, it was still an impressive run by them, for sure.
They are one of the best comeback teams, I guess you could say, in the world. They don't seem to get phased too much by losing some games early on in the tournament. They always pull themselves together when it really matters. So I think Navi is going into this with a really healthy approach. Of course, they would love to get off to a good start, but should they lose a couple of matches today, I don't think it's going to be too devastating for them. I think a team like Fnatic is kind of in the same boat, where they're just a really tightly knit team with their personalities and have a very long friendship to go with it. So they have an advantage just for the team factor, that they can also pull themselves up after a loss for sure. So not the most important game in that sense, I guess you could say, but it's a really exciting game to watch regardless. And of course, every game is very important, but neither of these teams, of course, even remotely close to looking at any sort of elimination. We're just getting started, and I'm already getting really excited for everything. So
it is. It's an exciting matchup, and we're going to see a lot of familiar faces from this draft already. The bans all, I'd say, pretty expected. The main heroes that have been ignored are Ember and Doom. Not seeing either of those heroes is slightly surprising to me. I'd say a little bit more so for Navi than for Fnatic. Fnatic just love their heroes, and they don't care that much about what's popular in the metagame. But we will see the first appearance of the Void, at least on this stream, Sind. It's going to be a Void Razor. This is the combo that's been really popular in the Chinese Dota scene. We've talked about that at length. DK, Newbie, IG, all have been running some combination of Void and a tanky, high damage output hero like Death Prophet, Razor, to some extent Viper as well. And we'll see the duo again, but Fnatic, they'll pick up the Scarith Mage, and it really worked well for them in their last match, and I feel it could have the same impact. You have the silence on the Void when he tries to jump in Chrono, and at least until BKBs come out, it's gonna be a big game potentially if the Scarith Mage executes correctly.
And there's actually two things about Scarith that makes him good against Void. It's not just the silence, but the fact that his ultimate has a lot of instances of damage. So if Backtrack blocks a couple of them, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, whereas a hero like Lion with Finger of Death, if you backtrack that, you're just like, I want to kill myself, right? But with Scarith Mage, you have a reliable way of killing Void, locking him down and taking him out. And it's been, in the game against DK, it was one of Fnatic's really good responses to tanky heroes. So I think Fnatic are going to try to, they're also a team, we should mention this, they're a team that aren't afraid of picking what they think is good, and they're definitely not afraid of keeping on picking it until they lose. They're so stubborn that their strategy is good. So I could imagine them taking the same exact same 5 heroes until they lose. They'll play it every single game.
They'll ride the wave.
Exactly.
And it'll be up to Navi to stop that. But looking at the draft so far, the one thing is we don't really know how Navi are going to look to lane this here. The Razor, I would lean towards that being Dendi's hero mid. I could also see Avos playing it, and same for the Void. It's something Fnatic can take offlane, it's something that can go safe, and you have a very good idea of their overall approach to the game based on these two picks, but you don't know what the lane assignments will look like. And I think that's where the Enigma pick's really strong, because we saw you can run it solo mid, you can run it jungle, you can go aggressive jungle or defensive, you can come help the lanes if you need to, or you can just sit and focus on your own farm. So I think having that level of flexibility is really important given how Na'Vi start this draft. And well, with that being said, it's all teamfight bans from Fnatic. They removed the Magnus, the RP Chrono, not something they want to deal with, and now the Tide gets banned out as well, looking for teamfight supremacy. And I mean, one hero that comes to mind if you really want that, though I don't know if we'll see him this game, is Silencer, but let's see what they do.
That's true. And it's also interesting to see teams banning out the Venomancer against Fnatic. DK did the same thing. They fourth banned it, just like Na'Vi are doing. Fnatic are big fans of running that as a safe lane farmer on Trixie.
They like the core Veno.
Yes.
They don't run it as a support,
No,
actually.
absolutely never as support, I think. Not over the last few months. Every single Veno pick by Fnatic, I think, has been played by Trixie. And he is really good on the hero and thinks it's underrated for sure. So, but Fnatic will have to get something else in this game. Both, well, if we look at what they had in the previous game against DK, all of their heroes are available. The last three they had were Clockwork, Mirana, and Chaos Knight. So they can get the same if they want. I don't know if that's the plan here. I think Razor is a pretty good choice against Chaos Knight in general. Responds to him very well. Chaos Knight has 2 single target abilities. If you want to go on Razor, you get purged. He can drain your damage, etc. And it's very easy to Chronosphere Chaos Knight as well. So, because they always kind of group up.
And that combo is just so scary for CK. If he gets chronoed, Razor can just start stealing his damage if he hasn't already turned on the link. And if you're not dead, you're definitely out of the fight by the time that ends. And one thing I wanted to mention about Na'Vi is they got away from their jungle games, and there was a period where they were just not picking the Enchanter and Enchantress very often. We saw them return to that a bit. I believe we saw them run it at ESL, and I think that's always been Navi's strength, is when Puppy's on a Chen or an Enchantress, he can control the game, getting whatever the creep is. Chen, not so much, you need to focus on your own farm more early on, but come the, once you get level 5, you can send creeps around just to pressure lanes, you can go for the early push, and, well, it does back up the Razor nicely. This means if Razor gets a fast mech, or gets some sort of tank item, and they get a mech on the Chen, they can threaten these towers. And I think we saw that in the Fnatic match earlier today as well, that DK just never threatened towers, but with this Chen pick and the Razor, I think Na'Vi will have more ability to do so.
That's definitely, yeah, no doubt about it, that's what Na'Vi wants. And I always have this kind of approach that when you see a team picking Enigma, you almost know for sure that it's jungle. But with Fnatic, you don't really know. It was played mid by No-Tail last game. But I think what Puppy is thinking right now is, okay, Fnatic, if you want to run a greedy jungler, we'll jungle too. So we don't lose an economy, which is what I think DK could have potentially lost the previous game against Fnatic even harder if Fnatic would have jungled the Enigma. I'm not saying it didn't work out, because obviously they did very well, but perhaps that could have even been better. And Na'Vi are just securing themselves so they don't fall behind. And like you said, keep track of the teamfight potential. Chen with mech and Hand of God, of course, a great team fighter. It's kind of a whole package solution for Na'Vi, I feel, because they're really good at the early roaming with their support duo, Puppy and Kuroki. It transfers well into the mid game if they do well, and then Na'Vi generally don't like playing late game, so having their supports being mid game oriented is a really good idea.
They don't like it, but I feel like they turn to it more often at TI than at other events. Like, you look at TI2, they were picking a lot of Favos anti-mage, which is an ultra late game, but more late game oriented. There was, I think, one of the big matches against LGD or IG, he had a Void, and that being said, this draft can be run any number of ways. They can go ultra late with the Razor Void, they can take fights early to mid, and, well, maybe they don't want to go ultra late now. At least not without some more answers. The Fnatic Tinker comes out. There's no Excalibur in this game, but Hani plays a magnificent Tinker as well, and, well, Void's good against Tinker, at least decent, but this is not enough to shut down a Tinker if it goes late. They will want either more counters or more pressure before he really comes online. And
with that Tinker pick, I can't help but think that, Ancient Seal plus Dagon level 5 pretty much kills a target.
I felt pain when you said that.
Just press a button and someone dies. But the thing, you're right.
Unless the Void backtracks.
Yeah, that's true. It's just going to backtrack, right? But Void against Tinker is kind of, in a way they counter each other, but Void counters Tinker more until Tinker starts getting items. So Void's main problem against the Tinker is, of course, when the Ethereal Blade comes up, and you can just decrepify him so he can't attack, or you can keep yourself safe from the physical attacks, or you can even save an ally with the Ethereal Blade, and of course
he can be there instantly because he's Tinker as well.
Yes.
So he can go around the map saving everyone.
Exactly, and he'll also be... Void is innately pretty tanky, he gets a lot of armor and of course has the backtrack, but if the Dagon goes through, Void's hit point pool actually isn't that big, so you can pretty much just completely crush him with this line.
And it's even worse if you build Mask of Madness, which has been the go-to build as of late.
Yeah.
Then you're one take on 5 can just straight up
If you
kill
have
you.
Mask of Madness on and you get Ancient Shield and Dagon, I think you lose like 1,000 health.
At least. The only way he's living from that is the backtrack or if he's got a BKB, otherwise he's toast.
10
Well, we'll
seconds
see Fnatic go for the clock again. So it's not the same draft. They don't go for
5
the cast
seconds
knight, at least not yet. Maybe they still run it safe lane and look to play greedier instead of running the Enigma mid. I think it is looking like a jungle Enigma now. Probably the clock to the off lane for Trixie, and we'll see how it pans out. But Navi go Beastmaster. This is a hero that has seen some niche play here or there, but I would say he's a very uncommon pick nowadays.
It's definitely, I think it's underpicked as well. I think it's a really great hero. To me, this was a kind of a hybrid solution for Navi. They get an offlaner. I'm assuming they want to farm the Void in this game, which Havos does very well with. But they get an offlaner, and perhaps most importantly, they don't give it to Fnatic, because Fnatic loves playing Beastmaster Tinker together.
And the Hawk TPs
especially
all
together with Skywrath, you just have so much ganking potential around the map there. But Fnatic's go-to here instead will be Clockwork, so. But yeah, the Beast fits in very well with a kind of a mid-game pushing lineup. Of course, Inner Beast is amazing. The aura is absolutely phenomenal. 45% attack speed for everyone. Yeah, they can really use the attack speed very well. So I could see this working out for Navi, and it's great to have some sort of single target. What I love about Beastmaster as a hero, he gives you great map control, he gives you vision, so you can actually find the Tinker as well around the map when you want to gank him. And when you go to teamfights, it sets a clear target. Primal Roar is like the ultimate, let's go boys, kill guy. So
it also gives you a secondary solution to Black Hole, and obviously Enigma has still a strength beyond that, but you don't want to have only one hero who can cancel it. Then if that hero gets caught, you have no way to counter-initiate the fight, but with this they get a secondary reaction to the Enigma Black Hole. And Fnatic will ban out the Rubik, so not too. I mean, there's Black Hole to steal. I honestly don't think there's that many great spells to steal, but it's more you're up against Kuroki, and it's just one of the signature heroes. Super Void, we're gonna see it now. Super Void or Super Razor. He has the Bloodlust attack speed and move speed now, the Inner Beast attack speed, potentially some Chen auras as well. These heroes are going to be hitting much harder than they normally.
Havos doesn't need Mask of Madness now, which is actually pretty interesting, since this is kind of it's a solution to just setting Void up for a faster mid game. He can go BKB first right now.
Does that remove the Bloodlust when
Not
you
anymore.
BKB?
No,
they changed that, right?
Or no, the difference is you can actually cast it on a BKB target.
Okay.
But in Dota 2, I believe it was never actually purged by BKB, which I thought it was, but then I read up on it and apparently it wasn't. So you can now Bloodlust BKB heroes in any circumstance. So that's really cool. And then Morphling last pick, so Era's gonna pull out. He's a short-range hero against Razor, so he can get drained. Ogre Magi has a really good stun, so does Beastmaster, and Navi overall seem to have pretty good solutions to a more. But Fnatic were out of time as well, so perhaps.
I think it's just what fits their draft, even if maybe it struggles with Navi. They already have gone for the Tinker, Clockwork. They're going for a very mobile draft that spreads the map, and I don't think you can really teamfight against Navi. Like, sure, you have Black Hole, but there's just too many ways to deal with it. Roar and Chrono, you're very unlikely to get a good one off in the fights, and if they get a good one off, team fights are going to be difficult for Fnatic later on in the game, so I think it's just Fnatic sticking to their guns, basically, more than anything. Whether or not it's the right pick, they could have gone for something more mid-game oriented. I guess there's heroes like Slark, Weaver, but again, they also struggle against Void and Beastmaster, so I think no matter what they went for, they were gonna have trouble if they get caught. But the beauty of the Tinker and the Morphling is if they're played well, they don't get caught, and we'll have to see if that's indeed the case. With that being said, guys, the game's now underway. Navi versus Fnatic. Navi on the Dire, their first match of TI4, and Fnatic on the Radiant. We'll start with Navi. We've got Fnatic handling the Beastmaster. Kuroki on a rarely seen hero. Alliance, one team that likes to run him in combination with the Lone Druid of Admiral Bulldog. We also have Havost playing the Faceless Void. He's been pulled regen, and he will be starting with the Stout Shield and Quelling Blade. Dendi the Razor, and Puppy the Chen. Guys, for those of you joining us from the multicast, we might have a little rumble here at level 1. This is Fnatic versus Navi. The draft just now ending. Fnatic has gone for the Tinker. Of course, Excalibur not playing for them. It will be a Hani Tinker, and they've brought back the Morphling for Era. So, if you're just joining us from the multicast, you are in for some classic Fnatic Dota. Navi on the other side going for the Super Void Razor with the buffs of the Ogre Magi, the Inner Beastar, and potentially some Chen Creepers as well. And with that being said, we'll introduce Fnatic here. We've got Era playing the Morphling over towards the other side of the map. We've got Fly on the Skywrath Mage. Checking out, he's actually spotted by a Dire Observer Ward right now. Hani the Tinker that will put the Enigma into the hands of Big Daddy. Last game, Cinderin, as we were discussing, he went solo mid. This game it looks that he will be in the off lane, maybe even the jungle. Trixie probably the one who will stay in the lane, and Trixie, of course, on the Clockwork.
Yeah, it's good to see Fnatic adapting to that. So in the previous game against DK, they did very well with a mid lane Enigma, but they're not locked on putting that in the mid lane when it is played by Noto. We generally see the...
Trixie's just caught himself in with Kuro. There's another stun cooling down. I don't know if he quite has the damage from First Blood, but it's going to be close. That body blocking, so good. Will he dive? He's got 7 seconds to go. Salve is there. It's cancelled. He's being herded back to the tier 3 towers. The cogs. No, not able to dodge that last one, Kuro.
Oh my god, Kuro.
Oh my goodness. Space created. He just sent Clockwork packing. I guess there is Enigma to take the off lane for now, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but losing your salve that early is pretty costly.
Yeah, maybe No-Tail doesn't go to the jungle after all. He does start in the top lane, maybe he just chose to go there because the Clockwork got caught out, but perhaps it's a dual lane from Fnatic, just trying to deny Dendi a lot here. Enigma Clock isn't the worst of lanes. If you catch someone in the cogs, Eidolons do a lot of damage, and you get great last hit potential in the lane, just Enigma can farm a lot here, so this could be a choice for Fnatic. The one risk is they're not jungling, so in terms of economy, Navi will definitely be gaining an advantage with their Chen. And speaking of Chen, Puppey is showing a pretty interesting movement pattern here. He's not farming in his own jungle, he's actually crossing into the Radiant jungle already, but he will be spotted here by this Observer, which his Sentry does find, so we'll get a little 50 gold from this. And
he's also got a creep on the move. It's looking to disrupt the pulls here. It's down near the Radiant pull camp. Centaur not really going for any actual kills. They just don't have much here with the Beastmaster, but more try to give Fnatic some early levels. It's interesting to note that Fnatic is going for Call of the Wild early. No points in Inner Beast. We tend to see that build more when you're mid, just so you can push out the lane and control the runes better. But this is kind of your old school classic Beastmaster with the added benefit of Call of the Wild's gotten some pretty big buffs over the past, I guess it only was one patch, but it got a pretty significant change with being able to have 2 boars at the same time.
And being able to summon them individually.
Yeah.
If you don't want to have both, you can summon only the boar or only the hawk. In some cases, I guess that's a nerf, right? Because you actually have to use the cast animation twice, so it takes longer to get your summons out, right?
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the cast points were reduced to half, so that's the one nerf, if you will, but it's kind of insignificant.
And you also kept the 2 hawks overlapping for 20 seconds as well, so it does increase your vision potential a little bit, but hold that thought as mid lane. There was no Observer Ward. Kroki picked up an Invis, and he's camping here. Puppey's also descending, and Hani is under pressure. Navi, as they so often do, trying to get their mid lane off to a fast start, and in they go. Hani does get off the laser on Havos. That means he's not going to be able to right-click effectively now, but it doesn't matter. The Tornado does its work. Even if Puppey falls, well worth it, getting that first blood. The Ogre Magi, the one to pick it up. Probably rather have it go to the Void, but well, at least Fnatic will get a Wildkin, so they get a lot for that.
That was more than well worth it for Navi, because both Fnatic's heroes from the top lane actually rotated for that. So they lose out on 1.5 creep waves up here on top, and Dendi gets some very easy free farm here, so that was a really great move from Navi, and not the type of gank you expect. You don't think the Chen Ogre is going to come from that angle at that point in time, ganking for a mid-faceless Void. It's a very special setup for Navi, and speaking of which, just looking at the farm, it is crippling them quite a bit. Void is being completely controlled here in the mid lane by Hani. Hani's currently 11 and 10, whereas Havost is 4 and 4.
This is so tough for Void because
Havost is 4 and 4. That's like perfect. May it stay so.
We're almost 4 minutes in as well. It really
man,
couldn't be any better.
The dream. No,
damn it,
he got one.
All right, I'm done casting this game. officially quitting. But it's tough for Void in this matchup because he doesn't have a nuke to farm. So when you get blinded, that's it. You're just not getting creeps.
It is
like
a
we looked
very
at
differently.
Like Tidehunter, for example, he gets blinded. He just has Anchor Smash anyway. It doesn't really matter.
It's one of the worst laning matchups, I think, for Void. There are a couple that are definitely harder, but a Tinker that's maxing Laser Rocket like Hani is in this game can cause a lot of trouble. And I don't think Havost is expecting it. That's another thing. These days, pretty much every single Tinker will get 1 point Laser and then max March over Heat-Seeking Missile. But Hani is one of the players who likes to play the really damage-intensive early game Tinker, and Havost might not expect it. All of a sudden, he's just going to get caught out by surprise by Hani dealing
the thing is, though,
damage.
he did show the rocket, so Havost at least knows he's taking a point this early, like you mentioned, is not conventional. So, but generally, I feel when we see this, is players just hold the skill points until they know they can get a kill or feel they have a very good chance, and then they skill it. But Havost at least has the information on his side this game. And
interesting to see about Havost is that he's got 3 points in Time Walk. I personally think the backtrack build would have made more sense in this, just to get a higher chance of reflecting the laser and a couple of attacks, because the way Hani is playing and building in this lane is he's putting a lot of emphasis on just countering Havost out.
Well, we're gonna have a bit of a dive here on Trixie, but he's just a bit too tanky for now, and as a result, they won't find the kill. So, taking a quick look at the hero level progression, the one thing that Na'Vi has done is they have sacked the Chen, and this is pretty common for Puppey. You look at some other jungle players, like Extinct from Titan comes to mind, he tends to focus a lot more on farming and stacking the jungle in the first few levels of Chen, but Puppey likes to get really active on the map, and now he's got to play catch up.
He's one of the more flexible Chen players, I guess. You could say some of the Chen players kind of have a very distinct style, but Puppey plays whatever he thinks is best in the particular game. He is arguably the most experienced Chen player in the world, together with Ake, I guess.
Yeah.
So these players know the hero to absolute perfection, and depending on the game and depending on the way your lanes are going, sometimes it's better to farm, sometimes it's better to gank. I think he felt like he had to gank because just of the matchup in mid. If Havost was doing fine, he might have farmed more, but he chose to take a more active role and at least secure that first blood on Hani.
He's also helped Fnatic a lot. Fnatic is level 5 at 6 minutes against a Skywrath Morphling. That is a scary
That's true.
duo.
That's really good, actually. 14 CS as well.
Now, and it's getting to be a problem here. Whenever Puppey sends a creep bottom, there's 2 boars moving around. There's the, and then there's the Beastmaster as well. Then you throw a creep on top of that. You're not killing the Morphling, but if you catch the Skywrath, even if he doesn't die, he might be sent back to the well, which, well, currently he's rotated mid. They are really intent on protecting Hani here after that early death.
Yep. Guarding him with 2 supports. Actually, maybe it's just a fake here from Fnatic. They've smoked up and are heading down towards the bottom lane. Big Daddy's level 6.5, so he's definitely been getting his, and Fly level 4. This will be a very easy kill on Fnatic should they catch up, but looks like Fnatic might be aware of it. It's kind of obvious since the heroes just showed in mid. I think Na'Vi actually might have even seen the smoke with this ward. I'm not sure where exactly they cast the smoke, but it looks like Fnatic knows, so a bit of wasted time here from Fnatic.
Yeah, the Hawk also spotted out Hani in the mid lane. I think the big thing for Fnatic now is they know that Havost has Chrono, and they're about to see the Beastmaster get level 6, so if they want to protect bottom lane, looks like they're going to go in on Fnatic right now. He gets caught by a black hole and a waveform, and Fnatic will make it 2-1. It cost them a bit, but definitely worth it. Delaying the Beastmaster level 6, and it's just good to see Enigmas get active on the map. That's the key with this here. You might start in the jungle, but you want to be ganking or pushing, and Big Daddy will be looking to apply some pressure bottom lane now on the back of that kill.
Well, he's going to get his level 7 here as well, so we'll have the level 4 demonic conversion if he chooses to skill that way, and he will do that. So perhaps this tower is actually this is going to be a really heavy threat. The Ring of Basilius is up on Era, so the creeps take way less damage from the mixed damage type axes here, and possibly we'll see this tower go down already to half. If there's another conversion on the next wave, I think Fnatic might just take the first tower of the game in 8 minutes.
And Dendi right now not sitting on a TP. If they want to defend this, they have one on his own.
Oh, Trixie!
Trixie forced the TP out. He can't stun him.
Really
the
nice.
Cogs keep Kuroki out, and now Hani comes in. He gets the laser counter kill, and he's looking for more. No rockets available, already been used, but he can just run him down with the right clicks. Great rotations. Fnatic really turning this one on its head, and suddenly Na'Vi trailing 4-1 and getting out-farmed. Not hugely, but at least a little bit here.
That was absolutely perfect from Fnatic. Perfect play by Trixie to get out of it. The TPs were in the right order and with the right heroes. Securing 2 kills like that, and Hani making work with the high-level laser. They don't kill Dendi there without that level 4 laser, so...
Na'Vi, to me, their lineup just needs to start using their really powerful ultimates. We haven't seen a Chronosphere yet, we haven't seen a Roar yet. These 2 heroes are heroes that can be the ones creating the space now. The Chen's not really at a position where he can. Puppey's only level 3, but Havost yet to go in for a play. He also isn't carrying a TP scroll, which means if they do dive somewhere else, He can't rotate, so I would like to see Na'Vi exert some influence of their own, but for now, they seem pretty content to just sit back.
I'm slightly worried about this Chen for now by Puffy. He does have quite a few stacks now in the jungle, so he will be getting some experience, but hasn't really had too big of an impact. He had one successful gank, and that's it. And it's 9 minutes in and he's level 3. This stack might get him about level 5, but you know, in hindsight, maybe that gank in mid wasn't actually worth it. He could have been level 7 now if he had been farming the jungle only. And there's not...
Compare that to the Enigma.
Pressure. Yeah, exactly.
He's level 8 and he's been applying pressure.
So
he didn't start off doing it, but...
And that just goes to that really shows on the graphs as well. This isn't just a close early game. It's 4-1, but 2,500 experience is a big deal. And 2k on the gold as well for Fnatic without even claiming a tower. Yeah. 2,000 gold at 10 minutes without a tower is a very high amount in this type of game.
And courtesy of the Enigma pick, it's probably going to happen at some point. The one piece of good news for Na'Vi is they have a lot more D push than in some of the previous games we've seen today. They've got the Razor and the Beastmaster. That's normally enough to clear an entire wave. Mech is not out yet, but well, Fnatic will go for kills instead of towers. At least they're going to start it off that way. The Hawks flying high, Fly and Big Daddy will rotate in, but if Fnatic steps up just a little bit farther, it's going to be toast. Fortunately for him, he will retreat. And maybe they go for him with this wave. They've got the
he's in trouble.
Now he's silent, so now he's in trouble. The wave comes through, and even with the magic stick, it's just not enough. Fnatic goes down, and every single move from Fnatic seems to be working. Still, we're 10 minutes in now, yet to see a Chronosphere, yet to see a Roar, and Na'Vi are just not putting any pressure on Fnatic. Fnatic has made every move since the laning stage, the very early laning stage.
That's true. I'm expecting the Beastmaster to start being active at some point here. I'm not sure why Fnatic is so adamant on going back to the bottom lane every time. He has potential to gank the Tinker in the mid lane, I think, or maybe even the top lane, but I don't think the potential of ganking top is really worth it. Dendi is free farming anyway and he's going for a mech, so that's perfectly fine. That's not the lane to focus on, but perhaps he's worried that if he doesn't show on the bottom lane, it's too obvious and he's just wasting his time. But I mean, you've got to try at some point. This early game is pretty much, I don't want to say falling apart for Na'Vi, but this is not the kind of disadvantage they were looking for with that kind of lineup.
Oh, they're going bottom again with the Tinker in tow as well. Fnatic right back to the bottom lane and potentially right back into its demise. Era jams it home, and they're not going to kill him with this combo. They'll need a whole lot more. They force out 2 TPs. He gets away scot-free. And he can head south if he wants, but he's actually heading to the left. He is going to walk right into a vods, caught under the tower for now. The Chronosphere coming through as well. They'll hit him with the max damage Plasma Field. He's still very tanky. Doesn't have a replicate up. Arrow will wave over the top, kills off the Hawk. It's chased in by Havos, and will be clean up in the end. Big kill. That almost makes up for it, but Big Daddy is still pressuring this bottom tower.
He's going to take that down to about half once again, so this Enigma pick for Fnatic, when you see them playing, it makes sense that they first pick it in these games. They first picked it against DK as well. It's just
they use it so well.
Such a valuable pickup for them, and might be first phase ban worthy, but then again, what do you give away instead? What did Na'Vi ban? Batrider and Io. I don't think Fnatic like Batrider that much, actually.
The Bat, to me, is a very team situational hero right now. Like, IG is a team you probably ban the Bat against because of YYF, unless you're planning on taking it yourself, but...
And Alliance for S4.
Yes. But a lot of other teams just don't really prefer Bat. Like, you look at, say, Vici Gaming, they're going to take Doom 10 times out of 10 over a hero like that if you let it through, so... It's always an annoying hero to play against, so Na'Vi may just prefer not to deal with it.
I've seen this before from Fnatic, but this time he's going to have the vision.
Well, the rocket comes in. Not in there in time to secure anything.
Does Fnatic actually have any smokes left? They do have one in stock, because the last couple of times they've ganked Fnatic it has been with a Smoke of Deceit. So they will of course not be able to keep doing that with a limited supply, but I feel like the damage has been done in the bottom lane. It's time for plan B for Fnatic here. Either stack some Ancients and get some farm, or once again look for the gank. It's very uncommon to see a 13-minute game without Primal Roar used. That especially considering how much space they gave him. Like you said, he was level 5 at 6 minutes in the Dire off lane. As Beastmaster, that's really good. That's like almost the dream game.
But then he didn't do anything with it.
But then he hasn't used it. So.
And it's the same with the Chronosphere. We only saw the one mid, and it's only because Morphling came running into the post lane. Neither hero's been moving at all. And well, with that being said, they're going to give up this tower bottom. They will take a tier 1 top.
I'm not sure they will.
Roshan control. And well, do they? Maybe Fnatic comes to defend. No TP just yet. Looks like they may sack it, although Hani gets in position. Trixie's here as well, and they just don't have the pushing power. Fnatic defend and take a tier 2. That is a really good trade for them.
This not even a trade.
Yeah.
Great trade. Nothing for something.
Yeah, it's a
Good
gift.
job, guys.
It's a gift. It's not a trade.
Thanks, Navi. Please do business. Please come again. Yeah. Gonna rotate into the mid lane now.
A
with
perfect customer, really.
with 3 heroes. And we'll see if Fnatic can make anything more happen here. They're just continuing the pressure. Enigma is rotating in towards mid in a moment with the mech and 1,000 gold on him. We'll probably see a pretty fast BKB for
Dire's middle tower
Notel in
is
this
under
game.
attack.
Good damage being done to the tier 1 in mid at this point.
Well, it seems at long last, Navi have decided they need to do something and get active, but the concern here is the boots have traveled out on the Tinker, the Morphling's already got a Yasha, and decent amounts of other items, and they can just start split pushing. Navi, they're ready to team fight a bit, they're ready to group, but they're going to trade towers at best if they do this. They already lose the tier 1 mid, still yet to take their first tower of the game, and Sin, they are just... I mean, like you said, it's not even really trading, but I guess they finally get a tier 1 now.
Oh, maybe
it's
not!
Costly, Havos caught out, silence, not enough even with the backtrack. Big Daddy leaping in. He doesn't actually have mana for the black hole, but I don't know if he needs it. Era keeps on chasing, and Navi are getting run over. The Ogre Magi will finish off the clock. Hardly worth it if they lose more from here. Dendi will pop his ultimate, but he's afraid to go in close. Kuroki is chasing. Where's the backup? They throw in a plasma field, but Dendi just didn't want to be there. He decided to come in anyway. He will get
what a surround!
Great play from Fnatic to turn this, but it's not enough. Era probably still going in. He shotguns one. I think he's got no mana for waveform, but Hani will run down the last one. The Beastmaster falls as well, and we don't want to go there. And what a mess! What an absolute mess for Navi.
All things considered, that fight actually didn't go too poorly for Navi. They got 3 kills, I think. And that was without Chrono being used. Void got immediately killed in the fight, but they just kept fighting around the Chen creeps, and Poppy did a lot of passive damage there. Kuro got a lot of spells off as well, but wasn't enough.
That, to me, is the power of just Fnatic's initiation more than anything. The Skywrath Mage silence is what made that fight. Without that Void Chronos or time walks out of the cogs and nothing like that happens. But we see this hero once again being really strong for Fnatic. It may get to that point in this tournament Sin, where teams consider banning it or picking it just because Fnatic use it so well.
Dendi's in trouble.
Well,
they're going to be using it well again.
He's in the well. That's where Dendi's going now. Fnatic find him. 4 heroes bring him down.
Dire's top tower.
And what are Navi accomplishing at the same time is the question. They're not
They have
really...
no towers. They really don't have much farm.
And Puppy didn't even go for a mech. He decided to go for a medallion. Obviously, oh, never mind. They got the mech on the Razor. And that's kind of the problem with... You know, when you pick a Chen and you run it like a jungler like this, you would expect Chen to get the mech, but if your Razor has to get the mech, it's kind of telling the story about how the game is going. Most times you would prefer to have the Chen get the mech and Razor gets something else. You could get another tanky item. Nice hook shot!
Where's
from
the silence?
Trixie. Oh my goodness!
Time Fly delivers, and oh, they just keep on cleaning up the Void. He falls again. Now Era comes in. He's got a Manta. They're just blowing him up from range. This game is quickly turning into a shooting gallery, and Era, he wants to take a few more pot shots here. He's going deep for this one. Over the top onto Kuro. He gets off the adaptive. One more rocket would do him in. Where's that rocket? Nails it. Secures the kill, and then looks to retreat. Trixie on the way out, and Dendi just running around, but unable to find a kill. It's another 4-hero charge, and it might be a 5-man wipe. It looks like it will be. The March gets popped. He's Malefist. He can't run away. And Navi are on the verge of just GG now. Puppy TP's in. It's going to be 6 heroes down, it feels. Even with the Hand of God, he still dies. It's a complete airball black hole until Havos jumps into it, but it won't matter. It looks like they'll get a return here on Big Daddy. What a mess.
What the hell was that black hole?
The best part was Havos was like, oh, I don't want you to look bad, man, so I'll jump into it.
I think Notel was precasting it because he saw the TP coming in, but he came in really late. So it was just black holing the ground for a full 2 seconds.
That was
and there was no...
It was either that or it was a pity black hole. I feel bad for you guys. I'm just gonna waste my black hole now.
Oh god. That was awesome.
Fnatic are just crushing right now. DK put up a pretty good fight, but Fnatic was always ahead in that game. In this game, well, it hasn't even been close since the early laning stage.
No, it's a 12k gold lead in an 18-minute game, which is
the Morphling is
very
almost
rare against Navi.
The Morphling's almost a full Manta style up on the Void. That's how far.
Oh, Havost! It's gonna get followed by the projectile. He has to chrono.
Oh, the rockets might find him anyway. The backtrack not enough. Hani celebrates by blinking forward, and oh, it's another kill. When Tinker is chasing the enemy Void across the map, you know you're in trouble. It
In
should
a
be the
19-minute
Tinker-
game, yes.
It should be the Tinker who's afraid of the Void at this stage. But it's not.
And Fnatic are just...
Oh, bottom lane, they've gone in. They might find Fly here, though. At least get a support, but it feels like it's small consolation. Skywrath he doesn't need the farm, and they'll go top instead. They bring in the Tinker. Hani's everywhere. He jumps in on Dendi. He assassinates him with the Dagon laser special.
19-minute beyond godlike.
And they're
Level
not done.
15! Yeah, that's one more.
Another zap, another kill. Holy shit, indeed. Dagon, level 2, already out. They're everywhere. Eris, peace farming at the tier 3 mid. I think Fnatic are just saying it's over, Na'Vi. GG out. I mean, the level of
Well, they're
fearless-
doing what they can to make Na'Vi feel sad about this, at least. They're not giving them an inch of space.
They're playing so fearless that it's
And it's the same...
unbelievable.
It's the exact same style we saw against DK. DK dealt with it better than this, but they still lost the game. And it was, again, Fnatic take a couple of early towers, they keep moving out on the map, and they have these lineups that they constantly look for kills, skirmishes, fights, ganks, whatever they can find. Clockwork sets it up, Enigma sets it up, Skywrath sets it up, they just go in and they kill stuff. And this game with the Tinker, it looks like the plan they had against DK makes me wonder, was that the backup plan they were playing in that game? Because Hani is just out of control in this game.
I think they had better answers for the Tinker.
Oh, hook shot!
Another hook shot and another kill. Puppy, nothing to do but just accept his fate, and he will do so. I think they had slightly better answers for Tinker, though. They had the Doom is the big thing. That is quite a scary hero for Tinker to play against.
No, Tinker was banned in the first phase
Oh, yeah.
by
but
DK. They didn't
saying
even...
if they gave it away,
Yes,
they
that's
would have had
true.
more of an
Yeah.
answer for it.
That is true. But Na'Vi, they've lost the entire map. They have no tier 2s left. Fnatic have all of their tier 1s in a 21-minute game against Chen. And we were talking about Na'Vi. Their lineup did have a decent mid-game push potential with Beastmaster Chen
It
and,
really never
and Bloodlust.
materialized.
They have never even... I mean, they've touched the towers. It's not that they haven't dealt damage. The top tier 1 is almost down, the bottom tier 1 as well. But it doesn't matter if you don't get the final kill. If they don't bring them down, it doesn't... It has no impact on the game right now. And Fnatic, with a Tinker with this amount of farm, pushing in and actually finding these tower destructions at this point is like almost impossible.
Well, they'll go for a smoke gank here, and smoking like this when the top lane is at your base is a pretty desperate play. Though Trixie is gonna fall for it. He gets caught out mid. He'll be blown up quickly. And they may be able to trade, maybe not quickly enough though. Big Daddy looks to turn it. He gets off the black hole. The Chrono's there, and it will isolate him. But it's only the Enigma trapped in after the black hole is used, and this is without Hani. Once he shows up, it's all over Red Rover. It's a triple for him. And Na'Vi, it was their last gambit. It didn't pay off, and they immediately GG out. Big Daddy pauses, I assume by mistake.
What?
Or maybe
he got
a
so
matter
excited
pause.
he just slammed his keyboard on...
Knowing Big Daddy, I'm pretty sure that was a keyboard slam. This is where you really want him mic'd up.
It's like, Lanham, I'm ready for you. I can break the hardware as well.
Yeah. wait until you at least make it to the main event until you start breaking the hardware, but can at least slap it a little bit and let it know who's boss. Well, Sin
15, 1, and 8 in a 22-minute game.
Fnatic didn't just win this game; they wrecked Na'Vi.
Goodness.
And I think if you're Na'Vi, they're all very experienced. So if anyone can shrug it off, it's definitely them. But this is a pretty painful way to lose, and they're a team who can't come into this event with too